let's expect that we will be able to finish the lecture or complete the lecture undisturbed. Right. Okay. Good morning again. So we were talking about time value of money, and we learned the reasons why there is a time preference for money, and then we learned how to convert cash flows to the future and convert future cash flows to the present. The processes were called compounding and discounting, and how the interest rate or the discount rate behaves in compounding and discounting. Also, we understood, right? With interest rate compounding, in compounding, future value always increases. With increasing interest rate, when you are discounting, the present value always decreases. And then we learned about the most common nature or most common patterns of cash flows in that we come across in investments. That is a single cash flow, multiple uneven cash flow, and annuities. And then we learned how to calculate present value and future value in all these three types of cash flows. So annuities and perpetuities. And then when it comes to annuities, we talked about the ordinary annuity where the cash flows occur at the end of the time period, annuity due where the cash flows occur at the beginning of the time period, and deferred annuity where the cash flows do not occur in the first year. The cash flows occur start somewhere later than the first year. Right now, let's look at some of the applications that time value can be used. Right. So first that what we talk about is amortization. Construct an amortization schedule for rupees 1,000, 10% annual rate loan with three equal payments. Right. So amortization, when you purchase assets on installment payment basis, you will pay a fixed installment. A fixed installment, say for example, you buy a car to pay in on annual installments or monthly installments, right? In say for example 15 or 20 or 30 in installments, you will pay an equal amount of money, right? Even in a housing loan, you pay on a monthly basis an equal amount of money. Fixed installment, right? Fixed installment can be considered as an annuity, right? So let's see how the monthly installment or the annual installment can be calculated using the time value concept, right? So construct an amortization schedule for rupees 1,000, 10% annual rate loan with three equal payments. So there will be three equal payments. Principal amount is 1,000 and annual rate of the loan is 10%. Right? So find the required payments, find interest charge for year one, find repayment of principal in year one, and find ending balance in year one. Right? So let's see. So present value. Now we are familiar with present value and future value, and we know how to calculate the present value and future value in annuities, in single cash flows, or in multiple uneven cash flows. So since an installment payment is fixed, so it can be considered as an annuity because installment is similar, or every month or every year we pay the same amount of money. So it can be considered as an annuity. The cash flow pattern is in the form of an annuity. So we know how to calculate the present value and future value of the annuity given the time period and the interest rate, and either the future value or the present value. And we can see, right, present value of this annuity. Yes. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, present value of this annuity or present value of the loan is rupees 1,000. Interest rate is 10%. In the time period is 3. Right now, since it's an annuity, this is present value equals X, capital X here. I have stated is the annual installment, right? So this is the present value of annuity formula, 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r to the power n divided by r, right? So r1 minus 1 over 1.10 is 10% r to the power 3 divided by r. Yes. Can any one of you calculate the annual installment for me with this? Yes. Can any one of you calculate the annual installment? Yes, please. Yes. Can any one of you tell me the value of the installment? Yes, I see Purnima, Pereira, C. Amarasinghe. Yes, we will see 402 rupees and 11 cents. What about others? What about others? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Yes. So it is 402 rupees. Let's take it as 402 rupees, right? So at year one, beginning of the year balance will be 1000 rupees, right? So after 1 year, what happens? What happens after 1 year? Interest will be added as at 10%, right? So end of the year balance will be 1100. End of the year balance will be 1100. That is principal as interest for the year on 10% on 1000. And from that, we deduct 402 rupees as the installment, right? 402 rupees as the installment. So inside the installment payment of 402 rupees, this interest is included. The principal payment is payment less the interest, which is 302. Right? So year-end balance at the beginning of the second year, the balance in the loan will be 698 rupees. Right? So what are we asked to do? We asked to find the required payments, find interest charge for year one. So we found it 100 rupees. Find repayment of principal in year one. So repayment of principal out of the 402 installment, 100 has been paid in terms of interest. So 302 is the principal payment in year one. Find ending balance in year one. So find ending balance in year one is 698, right? So out of 1000, 1000 became 1100 at the end of the first year. Out of that, we have deducted 402 rupees. In that 402 rupees, interest has been included 100 rupees, and the principal payment is 302. Right. So beginning of year two, we have a balance of 698, on which we would calculate the interest at 10%, right? So at 10%, it's 69 and 80 cents. So we round it off to 70. So second year interest will be 70 rupees, but the installment that we pay in the second year is also 402. 402 minus 70 is the amount that we pay in terms of the principal. So 332 is the payment of principal out of 698. So the balance is 366 at the end of the second year. So at the beginning of the third year, the balance in the account, the loan account is 366 in terms of the principal. So on this, we will calculate 10% interest. 10% interest is 36 and 60 cents. So we round it off to 37 rupees. Right? 37. So in the 402 installment payment, 37 is included as interest for the 366, which is the opening balance in the third year. Right. So the balance is 366 that we pay as the principal. So 366 plus 37 gives us 402 rupees, and we complete the payment of the loan. Right. So if you go by the total amount that we pay for 1000 rupees loan, we have finally paid 1206 and 34 cents. That is 206 and 34 cents as interest, and 1000 as the principal payment. Right. So, so using the annuity formulas, we could find the amount of the installment or the value of the installment. Right. So if we know the value of the installment, we can calculate the future value of this annuity also. Right. So what can you observe from this? I want your observation. See, in this process of paying the loan during the 3 years, although we pay the same installment, you would see that the interest component included in that reduces gradually, right? The interest component in the loan reduces gradually, while the principal payment in the loan increases gradually. Right? We see that there is a decrease in the interest payment included in the installment, and increase in the increase in the installment principal payment of the installment. Right? So this happens because we calculate the interest on the principal. So at the very beginning, principal amount is higher, so we pay a higher interest on the loan at the beginning of the loan, beginning of the loan, right? So that is why if you obtain a loan and then you want to pay it off fast, let's say you take a 5-year loan, and after about 6 months you feel that you get some money and you want to close the loan, you will see that you have to pay a higher amount, almost the principal you have to pay, because in the earlier um, installments, a higher amount of the payment includes the interest, right? Includes the interest. And when you go down the line paying, then the principal amount gets deducted, and then the interest proportion in the installment get reduced, right? So this is that in graphical form. Interest declines because outstanding balance declines. Right. So this is what we discussed. Interest is shown in the in the yellow stack. Right. Principal is the green one. So at the very beginning, the interest proportion is high in the installment, and when gradually the principal amount comes down, the interest on the principal amount also gradually comes down. So in the latter part of the loan, the higher proportion of your installment consists of the principal payment and not the interest. Right? Yes. Fractional time periods. Fractional time periods. So all this time we were talking about 1 to 2 years, right? We invest for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, or 1 year, right? So how shall we handle fractional time periods? Let's look at an example. On January 1st, you deposit 100 in an account that pays a nominal interest rate of 11.33463% with daily compounding, right? So this is a 365 uh, days year, right? So on January 1, you deposit 100 at a nominal interest rate of 11.33463% with daily compounding, right? How much will you have on October 1st, or after 9 months, or 273 days, right? 273 days. So we are not completing the year. On January 1st, you deposit, and then you want to know the balance on October 1, not on December 31st. Right? If it is December 31st, we would apply the annual rate and then calculate the future value. Right? Here, um, but here you are trying to calculate the value within the year, right? Within the year. So let's see how we can do it, right? So we can convert this to a daily rate. We can convert this to a daily rate, right? Daily rate. So 11.33463%. If you divide it by 365, because they say 365 day year, right? Because in some sums they say 360 days here. Right here they say 365. So 11.33463% is divided by 365, right? Then you get 0.031054% per day. Right? So daily compounding, we were told that it's daily compounding. With daily compounding, how much will the value be after 273 days? Now you can take it as a future value calculation without any mess, right? So you have 100 rupees invested, which is a cash outflow. So we have indicated it as minus. So daily compounding, daily interest rate we have calculated, and then we can calculate this as a future value of a single sum of money, right? 273 days. What is the future value? So shall we calculate it very quickly? Shall we calculate it very quickly? Yes. This is future value equals present value into 1 plus r to the power n, right? That's the simple formula that we use. Future value equals present value, right? Future value equals present value into 1 plus r to the power n. So present value, we know it's 100, and 1 plus r is 1. 1 plus r is, you have to give it in terms of decimal. So it becomes 0.003113105%. Right? It becomes, yes, because you give it in decimals, right? Okay, 100 into r to the power 273. So you end up getting the answer as 108 and 84 cents, right? So this is the formula, the familiar formula. I said this is quite worth remembering, right? Since it's a simple formula, I think it's easy to remember. Future value equals present value to the power into 1 plus r to the power n. Right? 100 is the present value which was invested on 1st of January, and this is the daily interest rate divided by 100 to give it in a form of decimal, right? And to the power 273, you get 108 and 84 cents, right? So that is how you handle fractional time periods, right? Fractional time periods. Then non-matching rates and periods, right? Non-matching rates and periods. So another variation. What's the value at the end of year 3 of the following cash flow stream if the quoted interest rate is £10, 10% compounded semi-annually, right? So at following cash flow stream. Now cash flows occur on an annual basis, right? So the timeline is given. What is the value at the end of year 3, right? End of year 3. End of year 3 of the following cash flow stream if the quoted interest rate is 10% compounded semi-annually. So since it's semi-annual, the year has been divided by 2, but cash flows occur on an annual basis. This is 2 semi-annual periods, means 1 year. End of year 1 you get 100, end of year 2 you get 100, and end of year 3 you get 100. But funds are being compounded on a semi-annual basis. So if you yes, funds are being compounded on a semi-annual basis, right? So what are you supposed to do? Yes, what is the value at the end of year 3, right? What is the value at the end of year 3? That is, they are asking for the future value, right? Asking for the future value. So let's see. payments occur annually, but compounding occurs, sorry, payments occur annually, but compounding occurs each 6 months, right? So we can't use the normal annuity valuation technique, right? Normal annuity valuation technique is not possible. So we have to make an adjustment for that, right? So let's see. So method one, we can do it in different ways. Method one, compound each cash flow, right? Compound each cash flow. Since there are three cash flows, we can easily compound it. Now the last cash flow is in its real value. So we do not have to do anything to that, right? We do not have to do anything to that. The value of that cash flow, the third cash flow is 100, right? And the second cash flow is compounded once at 5% because if it is on a semi-annual basis, M R divided by M, number of times it's being compounded within the year. So 10% becomes 5%, right? 5% on a semi-annual basis, right? 5% on a semi-annual basis. So the second cash flow will be there for 2 time periods, right? At 5%, we compound it for 2 years. 100 into 1.05 to the power 2, right? 1.05 to the power 2, you get 110 and 25 cents as the future value of the second cash flow, future value of the second cash flow. And the first cash flow occurs at the end of the first year, and it passes through four semi-annual time periods. Four semi-annual time periods. So we can compound it for four semi-annual time periods. 100 at 5%, 1.05 to the power 4, right? To the power 4. So once we solve this, we end up getting 331 and 80 cents as the future value of this cash flow. So what we did was we compound each cash flow to the future. The last cash flow is in its real value, so it's the same value. The second cash flow passes through two semi-annual periods, so we compound it for two semi-annual periods. We end up getting 110 and 25 cents. The first cash flow passes through four semi-annual time periods, so we compound it for four semi-annual time periods at the semi-annual interest rate of 5%, right? And then we end up getting 331 and 80 cents as the future value, right? So we can see whether there is any other easier method that we can apply, right? Any easier method that we can apply to find the future value of this cash flow, right? So method two, treat it as an annuity, right? Second, method two is treat it as an annuity. Treat it as an annuity. So first find the effective interest rate. Effective interest rate, right? Effective interest rate. Or the, can you all remember it? Interest yield, right? APR we said. So APY we said, right? Find the effective interest rate for the quoted rate. Right? I hope you can remember in our last lesson we learned how to calculate the APY. APY, right? So it is 1 plus R to the power n minus 1. So in since it is compounded more than once a year, you divide it by m. So that is 1 plus r over m to the power n into m, right? N into m. N into m minus 1 will give you the answer, effective interest rate. So 1 plus annual interest rate is 10%. Since it's compounded semi-annually, we divide it by 2. So n is 1, n multiplied by m, which is 2, so it becomes 2 to the power 2 minus 1, we'll get 10.25%. Right? 10.25%. So effective interest rate in this case is 10.25. So knowing the effective interest rate, we can apply the annuity formula, present value of annuity formula, and then find the, sorry, yes, we know the present value, we can find the future value. Right? Yes. So future value of annuity formula, right? Future value of annuity formula. Sorry, it's not the present value because we know the present value when we know the installments and we are supposed to find the value at the end of the third year, right? Value at the end of the third year. So let's calculate it. 100 is the annuity. 100 is annuity. Yes, 100 is the annuity. We get three payments, right? Three payments, right? This is the effective rate for the year, right? This is the annual effective rate, right? 1 plus 0.1025 to the power 3 minus 1 divided by 0.1025, right? So future value of annuity formula is the C, or the cash flow, 1 plus R to the power n minus 1 divided by R, right? So we have applied it here, 1 plus R to the power n minus 1 divided by R. So annual payment is 100 and effective annual rate is 10.25. You will use it here, right? Time period is 3 years, minus 1 will give us 0.1025 divided by R. And then we multiply it by the future value annuity factor, 3.318 into 100. It gives us the same answer as we calculated, 331 and 80 cents. Right? 331 and 80 cents. So we prove that this calculation is correct. So we take the effective rate, apply it as the interest rate so that we can use annuity formula in calculation. Right? Third one, right? Sorry. Yes, method two. So we could do it in two ways, right? And then how to calculate the
Excuse me,
percent
madam.
value of the. Yes, yes, please.
Madam, it seems madam sounds is breaking and sometimes it's not properly hearing.
I'm sorry, I'm trying my best to talk. Let me use the microphone. Yeah,
Thank you, madam.
yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me. Thank you. Hello. Is it okay now?
Yes, madam, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, do you want me to repeat what I said?
No, no, madam. For me, no. I think
It's all right.
yeah.
Okay. So, yes, we were talking about, I'll just summarize. I'm sorry. Yes, we were talking about uh, not matching rates and periods. So, what happens if the cash flow frequency and the compounding frequency are different? And if cash flows occur at 1 year intervals and compounding occurs on semi-annual intervals. So how are we to calculate the future value and present value? Right? So either we can calculate uh, cash flows separately, future value of the cash flows separately, or we can calculate using the annuity formula. In that case, we have to find the effective annual rate, right? Finding the effective annual rate and then calculate the formula, calculate the future value using the future value of an annuity formula, right? So these are the two methods that we can apply when the frequency of compounding and frequency of the cash flows are different, right? So what is the present value of this stream, right? Present value. So we, we learned how to calculate the future value. We can see how to calculate the present value, right? So cash flows occur at 1 year intervals, like in the earlier case, it's the same example. And discounting occurs on a semi-annual basis, right? So we can calculate the present value. Say it goes through two semi-annual periods of discounting. So you discount it for 2 years, 100 rupees the first cash flow, and you end up getting 90 rupees and 70 cents. The second cash flow occurs after four semi-annual periods, right? Four semi-annual periods. So you discount it for four time periods at a rate of 5%, and you end up getting 82 rupees and 27 cents as the present value. The third one goes through six semi-annual time periods, and you discount it for six semi-annual time periods at 5% interest, you get 74 rupees and 62 cents. Right? So the total becomes 247 and 59 cents. Right? 247 and 59 cents. So This also can be calculated using the present value of an annuity formula, right? Present value of an annuity formula. So let's see, we have to first calculate the effective interest rate to be used in the annuity formula. So it's the same example and it's the same effective rate, which is 10.25. We can apply it in the present value of annuity formula. Present value of annuity equals C, the cash flow, 1 minus 1 over 1 plus R to the power n divided by R. Right? So it's 10.25. 100 is the amount of the value of the annuity. Sorry, not the annuity, the periodic payment. 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 0.1025 to the power 3, because it's in terms of years it's 3, and we have calculated the effective rate on an annual basis. So divide it by R, which is 0.1025, and the present value annuity factor is 2.4759. Right? Present value of annuity factor is 2.4759 multiplied by the amount 100 rupees. It gives us the same answer, 247 and 59 cents. Right? It gives us the same answer. So this is how you handle the differences in the frequency of the cash flow and the compounding uh, frequency. Right? So then another application, this can be the time value concept can be used in comparing investments, right? In comparing investments. You are offered a note which pays 1,000 in 15 months or 456 days for rupees 850. You have 850 in a bank which pays a 6.76649% nominal rate with 365 daily compounding, which is a daily rate of 0.018538% and an effective annual rate of 7%. You plan to leave the money in the bank if you don't buy the note, right? The note is riskless. That is, you do not have to make any adjustments towards risk of the note, right? So should you buy it, right? You are supposed to decide whether to leave your money in the bank, which pays you 7%, or whether to buy this note, which gives you a specific rate for 1.5 years or 15 months, but not 1.5, 15 months, right? Or 456 days. So, how are we to handle a problem like this? How are we to handle a problem like this? Y'all want to try it? Do y'all want to try doing it? Yes. I will let you do it. I'll let you for a few minutes. Yes. I'll give you a few minutes for you to try. Yes. Okay, thank you for the answer. Yes, I'll wait for one more person to respond. Yes. Okay. Buy the note because it gives 1,000 at the end of 15 months. Bank will give only 924, right? So let's see, right, how to handle this. Let's see how to handle this. Yes. So daily timeline, because we are told that it's compounded on a daily basis, right? 365 daily compounding. So let's look at the daily rate, right? So we buy it, we can buy it at 800. You have 850 in a bank which pays this amount. So we can buy it at 850 today if you are interested in buying it, right? So 850 is our initial investment and it will take 456 days to mature, right? So daily rate is this much, right? Yes, daily rate is given. Yes, this much. Okay. So let's see. We can handle it in three different ways. Right? Three different ways. Since we are comparing two investments, we can compare the future values. We can compare the future values and find the highest future value. Right? Choose the highest future value. Or else we can compare the present values. Right? Present values and take the highest present value. Right? Or else we can compare the effective rate. Right? We can compare the effective rate. We can compare the effective rate, which gives us a higher rate, and then choose the higher rate. Right? So these are the three ways that we can compare. Yeah. So let's take the future value first. Find future value of 850 left in the bank for 15 months and compare with the note the future value rupees 1,000. So if you buy the note today 850, in 15 months you will end up getting 1,000 rupees. Right? So let's compare it with the future value of the bank's investment. Yes. Thank you. Yes, Dilini. Thank you for the answer. Yes. So take 850 and calculate the future value of the investment or the saving that is in the bank. So let's look at the savings rate in the bank. Yes, what does it say? The bank which pays at 6.76649% nominal rate with 365 daily compounding, which is a daily rate of 0.018538%, and then EAR of 7%, right? So we have the rate here 1 plus, 815 to 1.0001858 to the power 456, right? Equals 924 and 97 cents will be the future value. So if you leave the 850 in the bank, you will get 924 rupees and 97 cents after 15 months, right? So if you buy the note using that 850, after 15 months you will end up getting 1,000 rupees. So future value of the note is 1,000, future value of the bank balance is 924 and 97 cents. So you compare these two and you decide to buy the note, as one of you all have given me the answer, right? 924 is less than 1,000 rupees, which you get by buying the note. So buy the note, right? So that is one way of making the decision, right? One way of making the decision. Yes, thank you for that answer. Yes. The second one is you calculate the present value, right? Find the present value of the note and compare it with 850 cost, right? Present value of the note, right? Present value is future value divided by 1 plus r to the power n, right? Future value divided by 1 plus r to the power n. So 1000 rupees divided by the interest rate to the power 456, we have 918 and 95 cents. So the present value of the note, right? Present value of this 1000 rupees, which we would receive after 15 months if we invest today, right? You can convert it into today's value. You see that the value becomes 918 and 95 cents. So you are asked to pay only 850 rupees to buy this note, which has a present value of 918 and 95 cents. So which implies that it is worth buying the note, right? Because the present value of the note is the actual present value of the note is 918 and 95 cents, and you are offered it at 850, right? So get choose the highest present value, so you decide that it is profitable if you buy the note, right? Comparing these two present values. Okay, so I didn't have an answer on that basis from any one of you, right? So let's move on to the next one, rate of return. You calculate the rate of return and compare the rates of return and choose the one that gives the higher effective return, right? Find the effective rate on note and compare it with 7% that the bank pays, which is your opportunity cost of capital, right? So future value of any single cash flow equals the present value to the power 1 plus r to the power n. This is the simple formula that we've been using right throughout, right? Future value is 1000, 850 is the present value. 1 plus I is the amount that we are looking for, right, to the power 456. That is, if we compound it on a daily basis, we n becomes 456, right? Now we must solve for I, right? So when you solve for I, right, it's easy. 1000 rupees divided by 850 equals 1 plus I to the power 456, right? So you can multiply the power 1 over 456 from both sides, right? And then you can simplify it. You get I equals 13.89. I equals 13.89, which can be compared with the bank's effective rate of 7%. Bank's effective rate of 7%. So it is greater than 7%, which implies that it's profitable investing in the note, right? So in all three ways, the same recommendation was given. So one of you have given me the answer based on that. Yes, yes. Put money at EAR 7%, that gives 925. What is it? No, sorry. Yeah, yeah, I think that answer is not correct. That answer is not correct. Yes. Sorry. Yes. That answer is not correct. Please check your calculations, right? Please check your calculations. So, effective rate is 13.89, and you compare it with the bank's effective rate. So, you choose the one that gives you a higher rate, right? So, these are the three ways of when you are supposed to compare investments, you can either look for the future value, compare, choose the higher one, compare, calculate the present value, compare and choose the higher value, or take the interest rate and then compare and choose the higher value, right? Yes. Okay. I hope you have no problems. If you have problems, please speak up, or please post in the chat box. I can see. Yes. And then we move on to perpetuity. So we were talking about annuities, different types of annuities. The only difference in a perpetuity is perpetuity does not have a maturity date. It's in the form, cash flows are in the form of an annuity, but without an end date, right? A perpetuity is an annuity with an infinite number of cash flows. Suppose you will receive a fixed payment every month, every period, month, year, etc., forever. So this is an example of a perpetuity. You can think of a perpetuity of as an annuity that goes on forever, right? Annuity which goes on forever. So there are in some countries there are some bonds issued during wartime without a maturity, right? So the people who invest in the bond will get the interest or the coupon forever, right? Forever. Yes. Present value of a perpetuity. Yes, present value of a perpetuity. Now you take the present value of the annuity formula, right? Although not very familiar, right? This is the present value of the annuity formula. Present value of the annuity equals the cash flow multiplied by present value interest factor annuity. Present value interest factor annuity is calculated as 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r to the power n divided by r. Now, in this formula, n becomes large. N becomes large because you get cash flows up to infinity. So n is like infinity, right? N goes to infinity. So what happens when n goes to infinity? 1 divided by 1 plus r to the power n. Now this denominator of this fraction becomes huge. 1 divided by a huge figure, right? 1 divided by a huge figure makes it closer to 0, right? Closer to 0. 1 divided by a huge figure makes it closer to 0. So you end up having 1 over r. 1 over r, right? 1 over r. So cash flow multiplied by 1 divided by r, right? Or else, yes, 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 yes. Do you want to say something? 202 1.39. Yes. Yeah. If not, please unmute, mute your microphone. Right. If you want to talk, you can talk. Okay. Right. So you then you end up getting the cash flow divided by R, or else you can say the cash flow multiplied by 1 over R. Right. So that is the present value of a perpetuity. So in the case of perpetuity, we are not talking about future value because the cash flows go until infinity, right? So we are not going to see at what is the value at infinity, right? So if we give a demarcation of time, then it becomes an annuity, not a perpetuity. So in the case of perpetuities, we will talk only about present value. Right? We will talk only about present value. Right? Yes, we have an example. What should you be willing to pay in order to receive 10,000 annually forever? If you require 8% per year on the investment, right? What should you be willing to pay in order to receive 10,000 annually forever? If you require 8% per year on the investment, right? So the payment willing to pay in order to receive 10,000 annually. So the annual payment is 10,000 forever. So it makes it a perpetuity, 8% per year. So you divide it by R, which is 0.08, right? So the present value of that annuity perpetuity is 125,000, right? 125,000. So present value of a perpetuity. We can calculate only present value of perpetuities because if you talk about future value, you have to give a time demarcation, then it becomes an annuity. Yes. Solving for unknown interest rate on an annuity. Solving for an unknown interest rate on an annuity. You borrow 10,000 from a bank. You borrow 10,000 from a bank and agree to repay the loan in 6 equal annual installments. of rupees 2,100 each. The first payment will be made 1 year from today. So, which makes now this sentence is important. The first payment will be made 1 year from today, which says that it's an ordinary annuity. We said there can be different annuities depending on the time at which the cash flow occurs. Ordinary annuity cash flows occur at the end of the year. So 1 year from today is today, after 1 year is at the end of the year, right? So it's a ordinary annuity. What interest rate has been charged, right? So we know the installment is 2,100, present value is 10,000. You know the number of equal annual installments, which is n, that is 6. So you are supposed to find r. You are supposed to solve for r, right? You are supposed to solve for r. You all want to give it a try, please? Yes? Yes, give it a try. Yes. Yes, yes, you can use it using the solve it using the calculator. doing it by hand is not possible, right? So let's look at the sum. Yes, this is how it happens. You invest today 10,000 rupees, then you are supposed to receive 2,100 for a time period of 6 years, right? So So what are we supposed to do? Like if we are handling it with your hand, right? So we have this is a present value of, and you can use the present value of annuity formula because you know the present value, you know the periodic payment, you know the number of years, right? So you can have 10,000, sorry, 2,100 multiplied by 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 no 1 plus r to the power 6 divided by r, and then you have to solve for r. So since it's a complicated equation, you can try a trial and error method, right? That is, you guess, you make a guess of the interest rate, right? You make a guess of the interest rate and then apply the interest rate and then calculate the present value, right? So let's say we have first taken r equals 8. So when you put r equals 8, the present value has been 9,708 and 5 cents, right? So it has to be 10,000. So 9,000 means the interest rate has to be reduced because we are discounting. In discounting, higher the interest rate, lower will be the present value, right? So going by that principle, we know to get something near 10,000, we have to reduce the interest rate. So we reduce it to 6%. And then calculate the present value. Is 10,000, it becomes 10,326 and 38 cents. Right? Now we see that it gives a present value which is greater than 10,000. Right? What we want is exactly 10,000. So we have to try a rate which is between 8% and 6%. Right? Between 8% and 6%. So we try 7. Right? When we try 7, what happens? The present value becomes 10,009 and 83 cents. 10,009 and 83 cents. So which is a little bit higher than what we want. We want 10,000. So it has to be something 7 point something. It has to be something greater than 7 but less than 8. Right? It has to be something greater than 7 and less than 8. So we can use the calculator to calculate the exact amount. None of you have calculated and given me the answer 7.03%. Or else you can use the Excel sheet to calculate the exact answer, or you can use the calculator. So if you are doing it by hand, you can go for an approximation like this, right? Using the trial and error method. Yes. Then,
Madam,
yes,
is it possible, madam? Can you repeat again?
and this calculation is it?
Yes, madam. From the top.
Yeah, from the top in the sense how to calculate is it?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, yeah. This is the sum. You borrow 10,000 from a bank and agree to repay in 6 equal annual installments of 2,100. First payment will be made 1 year from today. So first, I said it's important because if the payment is immediately done, it becomes an annuity due. So this first payment becomes 1 year later means it will be you will be getting 2,100 at the end of each year for a time period of 6 years. Right?
But
So 10,000 is, yes, 10,000 is present value. And now you know present value, you know the periodic payment, you know the number of years. So what you do not know is the interest rate. So how to solve for interest rate is our question, right? So either you use your scientific calculator, feed these, and then you get the interest rate is one method. Or else you can use your Excel sheets to calculate this, right? I said Professor Veerabun will be teaching you in the modeling class how to use Excel in calculating all these known amounts, right? So if you are doing it by hand, you can make an educated guess, right? You can make a guess. Now this is the formula. I hope you can remember the formula. If not, I will write the formula. Let me write it. Let me. Yeah. Yes, it is now. present value equals the cash flow into 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r to the power n. Right? This is, divided by the whole thing divided by the whole thing divided by r. This is the formula, right? So in this, we know present value, which is 10,000. We know cash flow, which is 2,100. 1 minus 1 plus R, we are not aware of. And N, we know, right? N, we know. So what we can do is, we can guess. We can make a guess and then calculate the R, right? Since we know we can say it's 2,100 is the present, is the cash flow. Sorry, 2,100 into into say 1 minus 1 over 1 plus R. We can apply an amount. Let's say let's take it as 8%, right? 1.08. Sorry, 1 point to the power n is 6 to the power 6 to the power 6 divided by 0.08, right? So if you do this calculation, you get a present value of 9,708. Yeah, that depends, right? You can guess. That is why I said you guess. Say for example, you guess 10%. So 10% will give you a much less present value, right? Much less present value. So there is no guide to make the first guess, right? There is no guide as such to make the first guess, right? So this will give you a present value of 9,708, right? Now, when you compare 9,708 with your present value of 10,000, you see that 9,708 is less than 10,000. Now, in our present value calculations, we know when you discount at higher rates, the present value you get is lower, right? So, which implies that it has to be something less than 8%. Now, if you discount it at 8%, you get 9,708, but you need to get 10,000, right? So, which implies that you have to reduce the interest rate. Reduce the interest rate to get a higher present value, because the relationship between present value and the discount rate is negative. Higher the interest rate, discount rate, lower will be the present value, right? That
Madam,
we have done.
madam, if we
Yes.
get 9%
Yes.
at
Yeah,
the
you can try
at the
9.
beginning,
Yes, you can. Try 9 and see the present value, right? And then you can decide. I'm sure you get a lesser present value than this amount because interest rate is higher,
yes,
right? So then you reduce. Right? So you reduce to 8% and see. Still you see that it is higher, right? So to get 10,000, the interest rate has to be reduced. So you try 6%. You can even try 5% and see. 5% will give you a higher value than this, right? So 6%. 6% will give you 10,326, which is greater than this, right? Which means it has to be higher than 6%. It has to be higher than 6%. So you try 7. 7 will give you 10,009, right? So it has to be something in between 7 and 8. 8 will give you 9,708 and 7 will give you 10,009, right? So you can say approximately it has to be something between 7% and 8%,
8%.
right? Yeah. So if you use a calculator, you can get the exact amount as 7.0315%. Okay?
Okay.
Understand?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Okay, let's move on then. Yes. Future value of growing annuities, right? What happens if the annuity grows, right? So all this time we were talking about a fixed amount of money, right? Suppose Miss Investor receives a 3-year ordinary annuity, 3-year ordinary annuity that begins at 1,000 but increases at a 10% annual rate, right? Begins at 1,000. The first cash flow will be 1,000, but second will be 10% more. Third will be 10% more again. Then fourth will be another 10% added. Right? She deposits the money in a savings account at the end of each year. The account earns interest at a rate of 6% compounded annually. How much will her account be worth at the end of the 3-year period? So, what she does is every year when she receives this annuity, she deposits it in a bank. She deposits it in a bank, which will give her 6% compounded annually. 6% compounded annually. So, how much will her account be worth at the end of the 3-year period? So, we have to find the value of the cash flows first, isn't it? 3-year ordinary annuity begins at 1,000. The first cash flow will be 1,000. So she will take that 1,000 and then deposit it in the bank at 6%. So second will be 1,000 into, second will be 1,000 increased by 10%. Right? That is 1,100, I think. 1,100 she will deposit in the second year at 6%, right? And in the third year, she will get 1,100 into 10% again, right? 10% again. And that she will deposit at the end of the third year. So we are supposed to find how much will her account be worth at the end of the 3-year period. Y'all want to give it a try? Yes? Yes. Yes, I have one answer 3,499 and 60. Yes. Okay. Yes. So shall we check the answer? Let's check it. Yeah. So your answer is correct. Yeah. See, the first year she deposits 1,000 rupees. Right? First year, she gets 1,000. She deposits 1,000 rupees. Second year, that 1,000 is increased by 10%. Right? Third year, that is increased again by 10%. Right? So for one, now it's a time period of 3 years. So when you deposit it at the end of the first year to complete 3 years, it says 3 years, isn't it? Yes, as a three year ordinary annuity. So end of the first year, you deposit 1,000, and it will be there for 2 years. Right, end of the first year you deposit, and there are 2 full years for you to compound at 6%. Right, it becomes 1,123 and 60 cents. And the second installment, or the second payment, is 1,000 multiplied by 1.10, multiplied by 1.10 becomes 1,100. It will be there. This is deposited at the end of the second year. So until third year, there will be 1 year. So you compound it at 6%. It becomes 1,166 rupees. Right now, this 1,100 is again compounded at 1.10. Right, or at 10%. Right, 1,000 1,100 can be compounded again at 10%. It will become 1,210. 1,210 you deposit at the end of the third year. So there will be no interest compounded, right? It's the same day at which we are calculating the future value. So value will be 1,210. So when you add these three together, you get the future value of this cash flow, right? 3,499 and 60 cents, right? Very correctly, as one of you have given me the answer. Okay. So growing annuities. The annuity grows at a fixed rate, right? Then using a formula. You can use this, either you calculate it like this, or you can use this formula, right? Future value interest factor of a growing annuity is where, yes, future value interest factor for a growing ordinary annuity is I is equals to interest rate, N is the number of time periods, G is the periodic growth rate in the annuity, and R is the receipt of payment at the end of period one, right? End of period one, before the growth occurs, right? Before the growth occurs. In our example, R is 1,000, right? So shall we put the figures into this and see whether we get the same answer? R is 1,000, 1 plus I to the power n. I is 6%, n is 3, G is 10%. 1 plus G is 10%, n is 3 again. I is uh, I is 6 and G is 10. Yes. Shall we put that to this formula and see whether we get the same answer? Yes. Yes. Can anyone check the answer, please? Yes. Okay, let's check. So 1,000 is the principal amount, 6% is the interest rate, right? Right? 6% is the interest rate. G is 10%. M is 3, right? M is 3. You get 3499, right? So this is the calculation from the table, right? Right? 3499. Okay, then present value of growing annuities. So we consider future value of the growing annuity, future value of the growing annuity, and this is present value of growing annuities. So you can find the formula as follows. R1 is the first receipt or payment at the end of period 1. That is 1 minus 1 plus g to the power n divided by 1 plus I. The whole thing to the power n divided by b minus g. Right? So if we take the same example, we take the same example, right? If we take the same example, yes, 1,000 rupees is the first payment, 1,100 was the second payment, 1,210 was the third payment. So, in calculating present value, the first cash flow has to be discounted for 1 year, which becomes 943 and 40 cents. Then 1,100, which you receive in the second period, can be discounted for 2 years at 6%, will be 978 and 89 cents, right? And 1,210 for three, has to be discounted for 3 time periods at 6%, which becomes 1,015 and 94 cents. So the total becomes 2,938 and 33 cents, right? And we can use this formula to calculate the same, right? And use this formula to calculate the same. 1,000 is the first payment, 1 minus 1 plus, this is the growth rate, divided by 1 plus r, right? To the power 3 to the power n itself, right? Divided by zero point zero 0.06 minus 0.10 will give you 2,938 and 33 cents as we calculated uh, on an year by year, figure by figure basis, right? So you do not need to memorize or remember any of these complicated formulas, right? So you will be given a sheet of formulas at the examination. Uh, but only thing is you have to know which formula is correct, right? So that is how you handle growing annuities, right? Growing annuities where annuity grows at a fixed rate. Annuity grows at a fixed rate.
Actually,
Okay. Then growing annuity due calculations. Growing annuity. This is an ordinary annuity that it happens at the end of every year, right? Now, what happens if it is an annuity due where the cash flow occurs at the beginning of the time
Foil
period,
thickness
right?
ball lagi anak.
Future value interest factor of a growing annuity and present value of a
Foil kailan
interest
alam
factor of a growing
may
annuity
gagawin foil
formulas
kay
are designed for
BOPP.
ordinary or end of period
Or
annuities.
ba naman
To
hanggang
convert
may
these
one plus
factors to an annuity due or beginning of period basis, multiply the factor by 1 plus I. So this is the same thing that we did in then ordinary annuity present value and future value calculation,
may
right?
baran
So
may
we make
gold
the
plus
same
may
adjustment,
may mati
right?
kaya may
Multiply the factor
vacuum foil ke
by
BOPP
1 plus
may
I, right?
वो TTN
Use
pouch
these
के
formulas.
BOP pouch के
That is
ये देखिए thickness पर
if
ढक्कन
the
से
cash
माली
flows occur at the beginning of the period, you multiply here by
और vacuum foil लेके
1
मैं और
plus
मैं ऐप को कर दाम
right?
दी ना
1 plus.
खाने
Yes.
प्लीज
Yes, sorry, 1
ये
plus
देखिए
I.
बेटा ये लोग
I
कुमार बनना है ने
excuse me.
foil लगा Oh, oh, okay, okay.
It's the same. Then it's the same. Then present value of growing perpetuity. Oh, really? Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Can you all hear me now?
Yes, madam.
Okay, right. So growing, if we were looking at the formulas that can be used in calculating the present value and future value of growing annuities. So the formula specifically stated that it can be applied for an ordinary annuity. Right, ordinary annuities is where cash flows occur at the end of the time period. But there is an adjustment to be made to the formula, right? That is multiply by 1 plus I in both cases if cash flows occur at the beginning of the period. So if cash flows occur at the beginning of the period, we call it an annuity due, right? If your problem specifies that you are talking about an annuity due, you have to make the adjustment by multiplying the formula by 1 plus R in this case, as well as the future value formulas case, right? I hope you all didn't miss anything in that, right? Then growing present value of growing perpetuities. Now you know the difference between the perpetuity and the annuity, right? Annuity is you have a maturity date, you have a limited number of cash flows, but in a perpetuity you have unlimited number of cash flows. And if this unlimited number of cash flows is growing at a constant rate G, right? If the perpetuity is growing at a constant rate G, what you can do is now earlier it was C divided by R, right? Cash flow divided by the interest rate. And now you take the difference, C divided by R minus G. So this is the adjustment that we make to a growing perpetuity to calculate the present value of a growing perpetuity. Right? Yes, we have an example. Let's do the example and then take 40. Right? An ordinary share pays an annual dividend of 60, which would grow at 10% indefinitely. Right? An ordinary share. So we know that ordinary shares do not mature. Right? Do not mature. So it will pay dividend. It says it will pay an annual dividend of 60, which will grow at 10% indefinitely. If the discount rate is 21%, what would be the present value of the dividend stream, right? So 60 is equals to C, the cash flow, and R is 10%. Sorry, no, G is 10%, which will grow at 10%, and R is 21%, right? So what will be the value? What will be the value, present value of the cash flow stream? Present value of the cash flow stream, right? 60 divided by 21 minus 10. Right? 60 divided by 0.21 minus 0.10 will give you 545 and 45 cents. This is the present value of the growing annuity. Present value of the growing annuity. Sorry, perpetuity. Present value of a growing perpetuity. Right? Yes. Yes. I think then we have to talk about varying annuities. I think at that before that we'll break 40 and let's meet up at 10:30 and finish this today. Right? C divided by R minus G. Sorry, R minus G. Yes, in this C equals dividend, or in this case dividend or cash flow in year one. Year one, right? The first cash flow in year one, right? So if I have taken it as the first dividend as D1, and I have solved it as 60 divided by 0.21 minus 10. So what you suggest is very correct. When it comes to dividend, we always say D1 divided by R minus D in the constant formula, right? So if anyone thinks that this was a past dividend and we need to increase it, and you can take it, you can inflate it by 10% and take it, no problem, right? Is it clear, or did I confuse you? Yes, may I? Sorry, may I get the answer for that? Is it clear? Okay, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so let's proceed from where we stopped. Varying annuities. These are annuities in which the interest rate of the payments change, right? Interest rate of, now we looked at different types of annuities, growing annuities, and this is where the interest payments of the annuity changes. For example, find the accumulated value or future value of a 10-year annuity of 100 per year. The effective rate of interest is 5% for the first 6 years and 4% for the last 4 years. Right now, in between, within the 10-year annuity period, interest rate changes. So how are we to calculate the future value of the annuity then? Right? For 6 years, you get 5% rate. The balance 4 years, you get 4 years, 4% interest, and you are supposed to calculate the future value. Right? So let's see what we are supposed to do. 100 for 6 years at 5%. Future value of this for 6 years, and compound it as a single sum of money for the balance 4 years. Sorry, and add to that 100 for 4 years and 4% future value of this annuity. Right? Did you get it? Now the annuity is for a period of 10 years, 100 rupees, and for the first 6 years you get 5% interest. Balance 4 years you get 4% interest. So how are we to calculate the future value? First of all, we calculate the future value of 100 at 5% for the first 6 years, right? Then from the sixth year, we compound it for 4 years as a single sum of money. Compound it for 4 years in the future. And the balance 4 years, you calculate as a annuity, future value of an ordinary annuity for 4 years. Right? And add those two figures together to get the future value of this annuity. Right? Yes. So let's calculate. 100. This is for the first 6 years. Future value interest factor annuity at 5% for 6 years. Right? And this has to be compounded compounded for 4 years at 4% in the future. Right? And the balance 100 at 4 years, future value at 4 years for 4 years. Did you get it? Did you get it? Future value interest annuity at 5 years for 6 years, and multiplied by 100, you get the future value at the end of the sixth year. And that will be compounded at 4% for 4 years to get the value at the 10th year. Right? Did you all get it? If not, please ask, right? And then at the balance part, future value interest rate annuity for 4 years at 4%, you get the future value at the end of the 10th year. And you add these two together, you get 1,220 and 38 cents. So this is the 100 that we receive for the first 6 years. This is future value interest rate annuity at 5% for the first 6 years. And this is now at the end of the 6th year, this stops, right? This stops. So we will keep it for another 4 years until the completion of the 10th year, but it will be compounded at 4%. 4% for 4 years. To effect that, we multiply it by this figure, right? And the second, now from the 6th year, you start another annuity, the same annuity at a different interest rate, that is 100 rupees at 4% for 4 years. You calculate it at, yes, 100 here. This is the factor, right? And you add all that together.
हाँ करदा මෙහෙම කරමු තාත්තා දැන් මේක වෙනවා අපි නම් බබාගේ හෝම්වර්ක් කරන්න ගමු
Okay,
තාත්තා එහෙනම් අපි යන්න හෝම්වර්ක් කරන්න
right. Then rework the example above. If the first 6 payments are invested at an effective rate of 5%, and if the final payments are invested at 4%, final 4 payments are invested at 4%. Yes. Yeah. Why is it? I think it's the problem with the internet connection. Shall I repeat again? Why? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we take the next example. Rework the example above. If the first 6 payments are invested, an effective rate of 5%. So in that case, what happens is this becomes here, it becomes 5% for 4 years. Right? That's the only difference for 4 years. So because we are told that the 6 months investment can be reinvested at 5%. Reinvested at 5%. Right? So you make a change here. This is future value interest rate at 5% for 6 years, multiplied by 1.05, because now they say they can be invested at 5% for 4 years. But here, the other one is at 4% for 4 years. Right? So it becomes 1,251 and 43 cents. Yes. Then varying annuities. These are annuities in which the size of the payment changes. Right? Size of the payment changes. An annuity pays 50 at the end of every month for 2 years, and 60 at the end of every month for the next 3 years. Compute the present value of this annuity on the basis of an interest rate of 7% per annum. So how are we to handle it? An annuity pays 50 at the end of every month for 2 years, and 60 at the end of every month for the next 3 years. So if the interest rate is 7%, how are we to calculate the present value of this annuity? Right? So you receive 50 monthly payments for 24 months. Right? Compute present value. Now annual interest rate is 7%. You have to divide it by 12 to calculate the monthly interest rate. Right? Because these are monthly payments. So 50 monthly payments for 24 months, n equals 24, and R becomes 0.07 divided by 12. Then 60 monthly for 36 months for 3 years. The balance 3 years you get 60 each. Compute present value at 7% divided by 12 and discount it again for 24 months. Because you calculate present value from now, this after 24 months. So you calculate present value after 2 years from today. So to compensate for that, you discount it for in 24 months and add these two figures together, you get the value. Right? Yes. So 50 multiplied by present value interest at annuity for 24 months this interest rate plus 60 into present value interest at the annuity for 36 months at this interest rate. And then this has to be discounted 1 over 1 plus 97 divided by 12 to 24. So you discount it for 24 months and then you add this to this figure, you get the answer. Can anyone simplify the answer and give me? Yes, please. Yes. Yes. 2 equals 50, 50 multiplied by mul- multiplied by 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12, right, to the power. Here this is, yeah, to the power 24 divided by the whole thing divided by 0.07 divided by 12, right? Then add to that 60 into 60 into 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r again, it's 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12. This time it's for uh, 36 months. 36 months. And this, yes, this 6 months divide the whole thing by 0.07 divided by 12, right? And and this has to be discounted at the same interest rate, that is 1 divided by, sorry, multiplication here, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12 gain to the power, to the power 24, right? Yes. Has anyone given me the answer? 2,503 and 52 cents. 25003 and 52. Final answer, is it? Okay. Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. Yes. It has to be, sorry, yeah. 50 and 60 both has to be this answer. Yes, please check your answers. Those who couldn't do it later and check the answer, please. Right? Okay. So if that is clear, we can move on to the next one. Team assignment. Upon retirement, your goal is to spend 5 years traveling around the world. To travel in style, it will require 250,000 per year at the beginning of each year. If you plan to retire in 3 years, what are the equal monthly end of month payments necessary to achieve this goal? The funds in your retirement, the funds in your The funds in your retirement account will compound at 6% per annum on monthly basis. That is R. Upon retirement, your goal is to spend 5 years traveling around the world. To travel in style, you will require 250,000 per year at the beginning of each year. And at the beginning, now it will be a annuity due, right? You will require 250,000 starting from the day you retire for a time period of 5 years. So if you plan to retire in 30 years, right, what are the equal end of month monthly payments necessary to achieve this goal? Yes. Now, how are we to find out? First of all, we must find what is the amount of money that you need to have saved at the time of retirement, right? It is in 30 years. In 30 years, as soon as you retire, you need 250,000 that year and five consecutive payments of 250,000 for 5 years. Right? So we have to first find the value of not the present value, it's the value at the end of the 30th year. That is the amount of money that you need to have in your bank account at the time of retirement. That is the value of 200,000 for 5 years. Beginning of payment, annuity due. So you have to first find the amount of money that you require at the end of retirement. And that is your future value. That is your future value. Looking at it from today, it will be your future value. So then you have to decide how much you need to set aside on a monthly basis as in the form of an ordinary annuity, which is end of month payment. How much should you set aside to reach that amount in 30 years? Right? Yes. Shall we give it a try? Yes. T0 until T30. So at T30, T31, T32, 33, 34, you need five payments, right? One, two, three, four, five. So you are retiring at 30 years. At that point, you need, okay. So this amount we have to first calculate. Then present value at beginning of 31. T31 is an annuity due, right? Annuity due. Okay. So that is 250,000 is the annual payment. 1 minus 1 over 1.10 to the power 5 divided by 0.10, right? So this is the amount of money that you need to have at the end of the 30th or at the beginning of T21, right? This is the amount. And then once you know that amount, it becomes your future value. So then you have to find C, monthly payment. Monthly payment. C is the future value. Monthly minus, sorry, what is the future value formula? What is, yes, 1 plus R to minus 1 divided by R, the future value formula. So 1 plus, so since it's on a month, since you divide it by 12 and you have 31 years, right? Here you have 30 years, you have to multiply by 12 because it's on a basis, minus 1 divided by 12. So when you solve this, you get the answer. What is the monthly payment that you have to? Yes, anyone wants to help me by solving it, please? Yes, what's happening? It's taking that long. Okay, so do it by yourselves. Okay. Then another example. Linda, a financial analyst at a leading real estate firm, is thinking about recommending that the company invest in a piece of land that cost 850,000. She is certain that next year the land will be worth 910,000, a sure 60,000 gain. Given the guaranteed interest rate in the bank is 10%, should the firm undertake the investment in land? Right. So what you have to do is uh, 10% if you had in the bank, it will increase up to how much? And then you compare it with 910,000. Right. Yes, compare the future values or the present values and choose the higher. Okay. The next one, right? An investor wishes to choose the better of the two equally costly cash flow streams, namely annuity X and annuity Y. While an X is an annuity due with a cash inflow of 90,000 for each of 6 years, Y is an ordinary annuity with a cash inflow of 100,000 for each of 6 years. Assuming 15% return on investment, find the future value at the end of year 6 for both X and Y. Which annuity is more attractive? So you are supposed to calculate the future values and future values. You are supposed to calculate the future value of 90,000, which is an annuity due. So we multiply it by 1 plus R. The other one is an ordinary annuity. You can simplify and then choose the higher value. Right. Then, yes. Suppose you borrow 3 million from the bank and promise to repay the loan in 4 equal monthly installments of 59,204 and 75 cents each, with the first payment to be made 1 month from today. So, first payment to be made 1 month from today makes it an ordinary annuity. Right? So you can solve. You know the present value, and sorry, yeah, yes, present value is 3 million, and you know the monthly installment and the number of installments, and you are supposed to solve for R. So take the present value formula, insert these figures, solve for R, you get APR. Then since it's monthly, right? So that is 1 plus R divided by M to the power M into N minus 1 will give you uh, it will give you APY, right? APY. Okay. Then another example, right? Suppose that in January 2005, GM Motors engineers informed the top management that they had just made a breakthrough which would permit them to produce an electric car capable of operating at an energy cost of about 3 per mile versus an energy cost of rupees 5 for a comparable gasoline powered car. The investment required to complete development of the new batteries, to design the new car, and to tool up for production would amount to rupees 6 billion per year for 5 years, starting immediately. Cash inflow from the 30 billion investment should amount to 4 billion per year for 15 years, or 60 billion in total, starting 5 years from now. If the electric car project is not undertaken, GM would invest 6 billion per year, which earns 10% compounded annually. So that is the opportunity cost. What is the present value of GM's cost to develop the car? What is the present value of the cash flows GM would receive if it develops the electric car? Based on these cost and cash flow estimates, should GM's management produce the electric car? Right? So to calculate the present value, uh, tool up would amount to rupees 6 billion per year uh, for 5 years, starting immediately. Right? Investment. So that is an annuity due, because 6 billion you need five for 5 years starting immediately. So that can be considered as an annuity due, right? So let's look at this one. Yes. So present value of the expenditure 6 billion at 10% for 5 years, and we have multiplied it by 1.10 because it's an annuity due. Right. The second one question is, what is the present value of the cash flows from GM would receive if it develops the electric car? Here, cash inflows from the 30 billion investment should amount to 4 billion per year for 15 years, starting 5 years from now. Right. So, starting 5 years from now, you can calculate the value at the end of the fifth year. End of the fifth year for 4 billion for 15 years. Right. 4 billion for 15 years, you will receive it for the value is after 5 years. So you discount it for another 5 years, you get the present value. Right? So third question, what is the present of the cash? Yes, based on these costs and cash flow estimates, should GM management produce the electric car? Right. So compare these two figures. So this is the cost, this is the benefit, right? Present value, both in terms of present value or today's value. Then you can decide whether it gives a positive net present value or a negative net present value. If positive, accept. If negative, reject would be your decision, right? For that. Yes. Then there is another example, right? Answers are given. So just reading it out. If you have problems, or if there are places that you are not sure or you do not understand or it's not clear, you can please ask me. Mr. Somaratna will retire at the end of 10 years from today. Upon retirement, he is entitled to receive an annual end of year payment of 240,000 for 15 years. If he dies prior to the end of the 15-year period, his heirs would be entitled to the contractual payment. His employer has to accumulate funds to provide a retirement annuity by making an equal annual year-end deposit into an account earning 7% interest. When the 15-year payment period begins, the company would transfer the accumulated fund into an account earning a guaranteed 9%. At the end of the payment period, the account balance would be zero. So, how much would the company accumulate by the end of the 10th year? Yes, that is, they will put 240,000. They say they would put 240,000 for 15 years. Um, what is the question? Yes. Yes, how much should the company accumulate? That is 240,000 for 15 years. Has to be there in the account after 10 years. Right? So after 10 years, they have to accumulate um, 215,000, sorry, 240,000 a monthly payment. 1 minus 1 over 1 plus R is 9% for 15 years and divide it by again the interest rate. Right? So this is the amount of money that they should accumulate at the end of the 10th year. Right? Second question. What should be the company's equal annual end of year deposit into the account be over the 10-year period to fund the fully retirement annuity? So this is the value that we have to create. So that becomes our future value, and then you can take the future value formula and then uh, solve it for the monthly payment. Right? We are dividing it by 12 because they are in terms of monthly payments. Right? Okay, change the rate to 8% and recalculate. What is the next one? Yes, how much would the company have to deposit annually during the 10-year accumulation period if it could earn 8%? So earlier we said we were told that it could earn 7%, and all what we have to do is change the rate and then recalculate and see. Right? And then what's the other question? How much would the company have to deposit annually during the 10-year accumulation period if the retirement annuity was a perpetuity? So then we have to find the value of a perpetuity, 240,000 divided by the interest rate. This is perpetuity, value of the perpetuity. This is the future value that we have to achieve. So we can calculate it as a annuity and solve for C so that it will give us the monthly payment. Right. So these are the questions. Um, then there is another example. You have completed studies in school and to go through university, you will need 250,000 per year for 4 years, starting next year. This is you will need to withdraw the first 250,000 1 year from today. Your elder brother offers to put you through university and he will deposit in a bank paying 7.5% per annum, compounded annually, a sum of money that is sufficient to provide the four payments of 250,000 each. His deposits will be made today. Determine the initial sum of money to be deposited. Determine the balance of the account immediately after you make the first withdrawal. Right. So you need 250,000 per year for 4 years starting next year. So your withdrawal will be 1 year from today, which makes it the ordinary annuity, right? So you need four equal payments. From first will be after 1 year, so it's an ordinary annuity. You can calculate the present value of the annuity. Right? This is the amount of money you need. Then the second question: determine the balance of the account immediately after you make the first withdrawal. So after you make the first withdrawal, you calculate the same thing for 3 years, and then you will see the value after the first withdrawal. Right? And there's another example. Uh, yes, this is a little bit long, I guess. Your younger brother has come to you for advice. He's about to enter college and has two options open to him. His first option is to study engineering. If he does this, his undergraduate degree would cost him 12,000 a year for 4 years. Having obtained his undergraduate degree, he would need to gain 2 years of practical experience. He would earn 20,000 in the first year and 25,000 in the second year. He would then need to obtain his master's degree, which will cost 15,000 a year for 2 years. After completion of his master's degree, he will be fully qualified as an engineer and can earn 40,000 per year for 25 years. That is one option. His other alternative is to study accounting. If he does this, he would pay 13,000 a year for 4 years, and then he would earn 31,000 per year for 30 years. right? The effort involved in the two careers is the same, right? So which implies that he will not choose these two based on his effort, right? Based only on his on the money. So he's only interested in the earnings that the jobs provide. All earnings and costs are paid at the end of the year. A, what advice would you give him if the market interest rate is 5%? Right? So a day later, he comes back and says that he took your advice, but in fact, the market interest rate was 6%. As your brother made the right choice, right? So what you have to do is for the first option, 12,000 for 4 years is you can take it as a negative cash flow, right? But you can convert it into present. 12,000, bring cash flows to the present value and compare. Choose the one that gives the highest present value. Yes, for the second, you can change the interest rate and pre-calculate. So for the first option, 12,000 per year are my negative cash flows. Then in between, you have 20,000 and 25,000 plus cash flows. So you can bring these to the present again as single cash flows. And then uh, for his masters, he has to pay again 15,000 for 2 years. That also can be taken as a single sum of money and brought to the present value. Then after that, uh, after completing, he will earn 40,000 for a time period of 25 years. So starting date, you can calculate the present value for the starting date of his salary of 40,000 and then discount it as a single sum of money. So you compare all the pluses and minuses of the present value and get the net present value. So, and the other alternative is he will need 13,000 for a period of 4 years. And then from the fifth year, he will earn 31,000 for 30 years. So you bring to the present both the annuities and then you compare. And then you calculate the net present value. So you can compare it with the first alternative. Right? And what happens if the interest rate has percent, then substitute instead of 5%, substitute 6% and then recalculate and see whether your decision would change. Then, yes, if you borrow 20 per annum, what will, what will be your, what will 2 million is your present you and and you can find the monthly payment uh, by solving for C. Right? And then what will be the loan balance outstanding at the end of 4 years? That is after 4 years, what is left, the number of years left. Right? So out of 24, out of 25 years, after 4 years means 21 years. So do the same calculation for 21 years. Will give you the answer. Right? Then yes, if you want an investment to double in 3 years, what is the interest rate it must we did it? Yes, present value is 1, future value is 2. It is equals to 3 years, right? So you can solve for R. Then construct an amount schedule for 1,000 10% annual rate loan with 3 equal installments. What is the annual interest expense for the borrower and the annual interest income for the lender during year 2? So we did one like that. So we can calculate the annual payment by solving for T. Right? So this is about all that I would want to cover. This is about all that I would want to cover for under time value of money. I think it's sufficient for the general MBA program. Right? And one more lesson, that is valuation of assets next week, right? Yeah, so there will be two question paper on time value and valuation of assets in the final question paper. So I remind you again that I'm not very happy or not at all happy about the performance of the last year students, right? So please I don't know how to say that. Please practice. Most of the time, I think it's lack of practice that makes you perform poor at the examination. And these are calculations, not that you can describe something. If you describe, you can just go on describing, like say, even if you do not know the correct answer, you may just start writing so that there'll be something that can earn marks inside that. Since these are calculations, you have to give the perfect calculation to get a mark, right? So practice is quite important in calculations. So I request you to practice what I have done, plus whatever that you come across in past papers. Right? So if you have any problems on this or on anything that I have covered, you can always ask me through the email or the telephone that which is available at the unit. You can ask from them. They will be providing all the information related to me to contact. So if you have problems, you can please ask on time value money on what we have covered. Yes, please. Right. So I have given some questions at the end and I have provided the answers also. Right. So if you still have problems in understanding, you can ask me. Maybe you are not comfortable asking me questions at the moment because you have not done your homework or like not done referencing, right? So please go through the topic, go through all what I have done, and if you still have problems or problems in understanding anything that I have said, please feel free to communicate with me. Right? So if there is nothing else, or if you don't ask questions, I think useless wasting time, right? Useless wasting time. So I will end the class. I'll see you next week with the new lesson. Okay.
Recording stopped.